Hi, I'm Andrew Halsman. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm calling this video Weighing Your Marriage. The real difficult decision, the real pain in a relationship sometimes comes down to should I stay or should I go? And staying in what seems like a sad and terrible situation or leaving and possibly creating a whole nother set of sad and terrible situations is a difficult decision. If you're struggling with this question, then you may go through lots of paper and ink trying to figure out the pluses and the minuses of what you should do in this situation. There are many good reasons to stay. Financial, the kids, um, hope, religion, even embarrassment because you don't want to go through a divorce or another divorce. So it comes down to one decision if you want to go, if you've chosen to leave the relationship, and that's you're unhappy. And and the unhappiness can take on lots of different forms, of course. It can be trust issues, it can be abuse, it can be lack of closeness and intimacy, it can be abandonment, it can be many other things, control. So something in the relationship is making you very unhappy, or many things are making you unhappy. The issues are very real, they're very important. It is hopeless to try to base your decisions solely on the issues without considering, I think, another important factor, and that's your own perspective, your own personal history, your own life, your own thoughts and feelings about closeness and intimacy and safety and trust. And you may think you're considering those, and you may be, but if you're not thinking about yourself and you're just thinking about what's being done to you, then you're missing something very important. Is your gut and how you feel a reliable resource? That's the question, right? As an adult, we seem to instinctively know what's good for us, what's right, what we need. We learn to care for ourselves, earn a living, be social. Um, so it follows that we could extend that sense of healthiness into our intimate relationships and marriage. The obvious and observable is it doesn't seem to work that way. Why is marriage so different? And in my experience, marriage is very different than almost every other relationship we have, every other relationship we have. Um, if you are in a relationship that's so intimate and so close as a marriage or an intimate partner relationship, then you're revealing yourself, you're being open, you're being vulnerable to someone in ways that you wouldn't be to anybody else. And that's your even your family and certainly your friends. You may be very close to friends, but they're not going to poke you and they're not going to see through the walls that you have and the shells that you have to bring up feelings that are uncomfortable. And that's what marriage does. Marriage is one of those things that makes us uncomfortable in lots of ways because that other person doesn't let us get away with things. They bring up stuff for us. It may take 20 years for that to happen, or it may take while you're dating, but that will happen in a relationship. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because it helps us see ourselves as we really are, not that mask that we put on to other people. Um, like I said, marriage is very difficult. It is very difficult. It is also very different from every other relationship that you have. Marriage exposes you. It rubs away the pretenses of strength, superiority, health to another person who incidentally is being exposed as well. We are sharing who we are, our inner hopes and fears, our body, our soul, whether we like it or not. The closeness of marriage allows your partner access to a free all day and all night backstage pass. The economy is we want to be known, to be loved, to be understood, and yet we also need our space. It's a difficult balancing act, trying to maintain your individuality and your unique voice while being close, respected, and cared about with a partner struggling with the same concerns. Even though the closeness of the early days felt heady and exciting, that enmeshment time when we're very close and we don't care about anything else and we don't have other concerns that get in the way, like children or work doesn't even seem to matter. it's different as we are progressing in the relationship because those things start to pile up. And we also are not as connected, as close as we once were. We certainly can develop that connection in a marriage that grows, but that enmeshment, that time when we're as one and we're exploring each other's body and emotions and soul, is not going to be replayed again. That's why people love romance. So it's possible, it's and it's not possible or even truly healthy to be overly enmeshed, really. It's not possible. It's not possible for long term. That would be unhealthy because you would never have any individuality. You'd be swallowed up by the other person. In over closeness, you might feel controlled and stifled, leading to overt or passive aggressive rebellion. Yet being separate to the degree most couples find themselves is no solution. So being disconnected and cut off and not close and not safe and not trusting, of course, is terrible, and probably the main, if not the very major main reason why people come into counseling. Added to the closeness and individuality issues are the family of origin issues that may seem to be something that's removed from your couplehood, but it's not. Your family, regardless of how you perceive them, left you with some questions, some unresolved feelings, and your unique way of seeing the world and acting in the world. Marriage recreates and presents to us our unresolved and often unknown family issues. Abandonment, emotional abuse, welcome to the party, they're all there. Control, yes, not pretty or intelligent or athletic enough, good to see you, here you are. Think you're not good enough, well, it isn't obvious to everyone you feel. Not all those feelings and issues are yours, but some will resonate and some will not. So just depends on what you've learned in your family. You're not attractive, you're not smart, you're not good enough, you're this, you're that, whatever it is, whatever your issue is from your family or from your peers growing up. Those are powerful, and you bring those into the marriage, and you project your unresolved issues and feelings onto your partner. Don't want to, you think you're not, but you are perceiving what they're saying through that lens. The snide comments, the aggressive control, the manipulative tears, the disrespect, the quiet anger, or judgment are all tied into our unresolved family of origin or growing up issues. In the closeness and rawness of marriage, we are vulnerable. Our high and usually unrealistic expectations of marriage can be the recipe for conflict. Without the knowledge and perspective of our own issues and the reactions to them, it leads to confusion, cut off arguments, passive aggressive behavior, hurt feelings, and ultimately wanting out of a miserable situation. A client once gave me a sign that I keep in my office which mimics those leadership achieve type signs. This one says, dysfunction, the only consistent feature of all your dissatisfying relationships is you. So, as much as you want to blame your spouse, he or she is not the origin of your feelings, but the catalyst, the trigger for what is already rolling around in you. So, when you're weighing your marriage, when you're trying to figure out what's going on in your life, in your relationship, then these are the things to consider. Consider who you are and where you come from. Consider what you're projecting onto that other person. Counseling addresses that useful information while working to reduce the blame in your marriage. We can help reveal the powerful family of origin issues that influence your decisions and your lack of having a voice sometimes. With awareness, your decisions about staying or leaving come from a truer place. That's what I believe. I believe if you're in recovery, if you're in counseling, and you know what's going on with you, and you know what your issues are, and you can speak to them without exploding at your partner or shutting down and not talking for days and weeks and months and years, and you can address what's going on and hopefully that other person can hear it if it's not in a way that makes them defensive or triggers their issues. Then there's a hope for that relationship. But otherwise, there's very little hope because people are just reacting, both people in the relationship are just reacting off their old family of origin issues. Not to say that the marriage will last, not to say the marriage is best for you, the relationship is best for you, but at least you're coming from a place where you're not replicating the old stuff and you have a chance to find out if this marriage can be back to what it was once. This relationship can be a good one and a safe one and a trusting one. Your relationship will be different when you are open to the knowledge of yourself, and that truly helps addressing real world issues in a constructive and powerful fashion. That's my belief. Thank you for listening. I'm Andrew Halsman. I can be reached at 317-457-8668 or ahalsman2 at comcast.net.